All right, so today we're diving deep into Kaliane Bradley's The Ministry of Time.
Ooh, I love that book.
Yeah, it's so much more than just a time travel story, right? Like, it really gets you thinking.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What really struck me was
Yeah.
how Bradley uses time travel to explore these really complex themes like cultural displacement and adaptation. It's not just about the adventure,
Right.
it's about what that adventure reveals about us as humans.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's start with the basics for anyone who hasn't read the book. What exactly icases this Ministry of Time?
Okay, so picture this a secret organization
Okay.
hidden right in the heart of London, and their mission is rescuing people
Whoa.
from moments in history where they were about to, meet a very unfortunate end.
Like,
Think volcanic eruptions, shipwrecks,
oh,
you name it.
wow.
And these rescued folks, they're called expats.
Expats.
Yeah.
I like that. It already sets up this feeling of being out of place, right?
Exactly. And to help these expats adjust to modern life, they're paired with agents called bridges. But here's where Bradley takes it a step further. The novel really dives deep into the psychological and emotional impact of this kind of time displacement.
So it's not just, oh, cool, I'm in the future. It's about the disorientation, the culture shock, the potential trauma of having your whole world ripped away.
Precisely, Bradley doesn't shy away from those difficult questions. She really makes you feel the weight of what it would mean to be suddenly thrust into a completely alien environment.
I can't even imagine.
Right, think about it, someone from the Victorian era,
Oh my gosh.
suddenly having to navigate the internet, social media, smartphones.
It'd be like trying to learn a new language overnight, except the language is modern life itself.
Exactly. It's
Out where the whole idea of the bridges being so essential comes in, right?
Absolutely. The bridges aren't just tour guides. They're therapists, cultural interpreters, friends. They embody that sense of empathy and support that's so crucial when you're feeling lost and overwhelmed.
It makes me think about real-world immigrants and refugees. They might not be traveling through time, but they're facing many of the same challenges. Adapting to a new culture, learning new social cues, trying to build a life in a place that feels foreign.
That's a great connection. Bradley uses this fantastical premise to explore a very real human experience.
Yeah.
And what makes it even more compelling is how she weaves in the intricacies of time travel itself.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How does time travel actually work in this world? Does Bradley get into the nitty-gritty of the mechanics?
She does, but she does it in a way that feels organic to the story. We learn that the Ministry has developed this technology that allows them to pinpoint specific moments in time and extract people. But there are limitations.
So they can't just change history willy-nilly.
Exactly. They can't just change history willy-nilly. There are rules. Consequences.
Yeah. Consequences. I like it.
There's this constant awareness that even the smallest change to the past can have ripple effects that alter the present. It adds this layer of tension and ethical complexity to everything the Ministry does.
Which brings us to the whole espionage element. This isn't just a historical rescue mission. There's intrigue, secrets, maybe even a bit of danger lurking in the shadows.
Definitely Bradley masterfully blends genres.
Yeah.
We have the high-stakes drama of time travel, the emotional depth of the expat bridge relationships, and then this layer of spy thriller suspense.
Okay, so give me an example. What kind of secrets are we talking about?
There are hints early on that not everyone within the Ministry is playing by the rules.
Oh.
Some agents might be tempted to use this time travel technology for personal gain or to try to fix history according to their own agendas.
Oh, that's where things could get really messy, and that's probably where some of those ethical dilemmas you mentioned come into play, right?
Exactly. The novel constantly asks, what gives us the right to tamper with the past, even to save lives? What are the potential unintended consequences?
Those are some heavy questions. But I'm guessing Bradley doesn't give us easy answers, does she?
No, she doesn't. She presents these dilemmas in a nuanced way, letting the reader grapple with the complexities alongside the characters. And that's what makes this book so much more than just a fun time travel romp.
It sounds like Bradley is using time travel as a lens to examine some really profound ideas about history, responsibility, and what it means to be human.
I'm already hooked.
Me too.
Yeah.
And we haven't even touched on the incredible character development and the relationships that drive the story. That's what we'll be diving into next.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Ministry of Time. We're talking about how Bradley uses this idea of rescuing expats from history to explore the challenges of adapting to a new culture.
Yeah, and like the whole question of messing with the past. Is it ethical?
Right. One of the things that makes this book so interesting is how she balances the excitement of time travel with this responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, she makes it clear that the ministry doesn't just go around changing things all willy-nilly.
Yeah, but rules are made to be broken,
Yeah.
right? Even with good intentions, things could go wrong.
Absolutely. And that conflict is what makes the stories of the expats and their bridges so compelling. They face these moral dilemmas. They question their own beliefs. They're trying to make sense of the past and the present.
So give me an example whose story really shows this struggle.
There's a character named Alara who is rescued from Pompeii right before Vesuvius erupts. Imagine being taken from your world, your family, and suddenly you're centuries in the future.
That's got to be traumatic.
Right, and Bradley's writing really makes you feel that. Like there's this quote, "Time may heal all wounds, but the scars it leaves can still ache."
Oh yeah, that one gets me every time.
And it's not just about the physical displacement. Alara feels this survivor's guilt. She got saved, but so many others didn't.
So how does her bridge Liam help her deal with all of that?
Liam is interesting because he represents the modern world. He's all about logic and efficiency. But Alara's story forces him to slow down and be more empathetic. He learns that sometimes just being there for someone is more important than finding a solution.
So their relationship kind of represents the whole book in a way. Past and present, clashing and finding connection in the middle of it all.
I like that. And then there's Julian, who's this rogue agent. He thinks the ministry should be more active in fixing past injustices.
Even if it means breaking the rules.
Exactly. He's a bit of a wild card, and his story shows how even good intentions can have bad consequences.
So it's like a warning about playing God with time. Makes you think, where do we draw the line?
Right, and Bradley doesn't give us easy answers. She lets you figure it out along with the characters.
This is making me think about free will and destiny and all that. Like if we could change the past, would we change ourselves?
See, that's what I love about this book. It makes you think about the big questions while still being a thrilling story.
And the writing is just beautiful. How she describes those historical settings, I can practically smell the marketplace in London.
Oh yeah, that scene is incredible. You feel like you're right there.
She doesn't just tell you about the past. She makes you experience it. That's what makes this so much more than just a typical time travel book.
I agree. It's a story with so many layers. Adventure characters, and then this deep exploration of history, identity, belonging.
So we've been talking about the Ministry of Time, but it feels like this story is about way more than just time travel.
It is, isn't it? It's like Bradley is using these crazy events to show us what it means to be human. You know, like change lost, trying to find where we belong.
Exactly. Even with time travel, people still face the same problems.
Yeah, think about the expats. They're taken from everything they know and thrown into a whole new world.
It's like a super intense version of moving to a new country or starting a new job.
Totally. That feeling of being lost and trying to figure things out, Bradley captures that perfectly.
But it's not just the outside world that changes, right? The expats are also changing on the inside.
Absolutely. Their whole sense of who they are and how the world works is shaken up.
And that's where the bridges come in. They help the expats deal with more than just the practical stuff.
Yeah, they provide emotional support. They help them process the trauma of being displaced. They guide them as they figure out who they are now.
You know, it makes me think about resilience. It's not just about bouncing back. It's about growing and changing.
Right, and that change is easier when you have connections. The expats who isolate themselves struggle more than those who find community.
We need each other even when things are crazy different. We want to feel seen and understood.
And sometimes those connections come from the most unexpected places, like Alara and Liam. They come from totally different worlds, but they find common ground.
It shows that belonging isn't about fitting in. It's about finding the people and places that feel right, even if they're strange or new.
And that's one of the things I love about this book. It's hopeful. It says that even when we feel lost, we can find connection and build a new sense of belonging.
So as we wrap up, I have one last question for you and for everyone listening. If you could be rescued from a historical event, what would it be and why?
That's a great question. It makes you think about your own life and the moments that have shaped who you are.
It's not just about escaping into a story. It's about using that story to understand ourselves better. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the Ministry of Time. Until next time, keep exploring.